Hey there everyone, my name's Andrew and this is Canadian Starships, what I found in my parents' attic. So, a little bit of context as we get started on this interesting video about everything that I found in my parents' attic. So, when I was finishing up high school in 1999, 20 years ago, I thought before I would go off to college, university, that I would pack up everything that was in my room, stashed in drawers and on shelves and all kinds of stuff, and I would pack them away in apple boxes and stash them up in my parents' attic. That was 20 years ago, and they haven't been touched, heard of, or seen since then. Just a couple weeks ago, I went to my parents' place, and while I was there, I wanted to get a couple things from the attic that I knew were up there, but my parents decided that I should pull all that stuff out while I was going up. Now, what I was going up into the attic for was these behind me. I had an idea to create a background for my model building videos that would show off some of the box tops from the models that I made when I was young. And I made a fair number of these models when I was young. Now, the quality is not that great. Let me just grab a quick example here. This is the Runabout from Deep Space Nine. And as you can tell, it's, first of all, bare plastic. It's also decals on the bare plastic. And the detail painting was essentially anything that I wanted to do as detail painting. Hand brush painted on. I knew nothing about airbrushes. I knew nothing about decal setter. I knew nothing about priming and base coat and clear coats or anything like that. So this is an example of how I built kits when I was a kid. And I've got a whole bunch of these. But I did keep all the box tops. So I have a selection of the best box tops I could find out of what was left over. Some of them were just utterly destroyed or beyond what I wanted to clean up, but these ones I managed to get. They were in decent shape. I was able to clean them up, and they are now on the wall. Now you'll notice that there is a blank spot here. That is here for a very particular purpose, and it's been measured out because I have a poster. It is a Master Systems display LCARS of the Enterprise D, just like you would see on the wall in engineering. And it is coming to me courtesy of Captain's Dry Dock, which you will find a link for in the description below. Check out John's channel there, Captain's Dry Dock. And I won a contest to win that poster. So that has arrived from England, and I have taken it in to be plaque mounted. And that way it will last for the long term. And I want it to be right there behind me in my videos. So it is going right there. So that spot's been reserved. So around it, I'll just point out a couple of the highlights maybe. There is obviously, there's the original Enterprise D model, not clear. It's the kind of the bluey plastic one. DS9, I have no idea where my DS9 model went. I cannot find it anywhere. Let's see. Oh, the Chrome Enterprise kit, which you can't see, but it's above the Enterprise D there. There's a Maquis Raider. There's the Cutaway Enterprise, the Adversary set, Runabout, Voyager, Excelsior, Klingon Bird of Prey. This I will show you a little bit more later on, but that is the special edition US Enterprise with lights and sounds. And then we've got, you can't really see it, but it's the Reliant up here in the corner and the Defiant down there. So that's the first thing that I found in my parents' attic. All of these box tops, and they were in decent shape considering that the cardboard boxes have been sitting up there for 20 years. On the subject of posters, something else that I found that's really interesting that came out of some of the models I built when I was young were these. I'm going to show you these. This is the first one, and it is a Cutaway poster that came in one of my model boxes when I was young. I don't remember which model this came in. It would have been one of the next generation models. I don't think it was the Enterprise D, but this was a fun poster that came, and you get a little bit of a look at the interior there. I may consider getting this plaque mounted. The other really fun poster that I found was the equivalent for the Enterprise A. And you get to see the bowling alley in there, and you know, just some of the really fun cutaway things that are shown there. So those are really cool. They're a little, you can kind of see that they're a little you know, wavy from being rolled up and in an attic for 20-some years. So I'm going to try to see if maybe I can get those plaque mounted too, just to preserve them, because those are really fun little things to have. One more thing that I have prepped for you right now that I've cleaned up, and it's not really a model, it's more of a toy, but it's kind of interesting, highly inaccurate, but this, I believe, is the Playmates Next Generation Shuttlecraft. And it is one of the ones that you would open it up inside, and there's a single-seater cockpit. And the old action figures would sit right inside here, and you could open up the back area. Focus. Open up the back area, and there's seating and stuff in there. There's a battery compartment right up top here. It did contain lights and sounds with buttons on top. So that's kind of cool. So continuing on in the line of posters, I found something that will be interesting to Canadians, maybe not to the Americans, but Shreddies, a long-time staple on Canadian breakfast tables, at least in my house. And these are Shreddies posters from Generations, when Generations was first coming out. I can't remember if I was yet in high school when Generations came out. I started high school in '93. Some of you can Google when Generations came out. This is the other one that's got the three guys who were in the movie from the original series: Captain Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov. And you've got the Duras sisters, and you've got Soren down there in the bottom. So not great quality posters, but hey, they've lasted 20 years in my parents' attic. Not something that I would worry about getting plaque mounted or something like that, but kind of interesting just to see. Now, moving on to a little bit of memorabilia, I've got a highly inaccurate communicator. This was, again, Playmates. It's way too big. I mean, like, just look how big that is on my chest there. It also has a button there, and it was lights and sounds. So it had the communicator sound, but for some reason they thought that they should put lights inside. I don't get it. It was just really odd. So yeah, actually, the size, how thick it is, the fact that it had lights in it. When I opened up that package, I waited, like, I saved my money for this. And I went to the only store in Ottawa that I knew had it. And I got it home, opened up the packaging because I was so excited, and then this came out. That was too big. It had this awkward black, and it had these lights inside. And I was so upset. Moving on, we have some, I don't know where any of these came from, but we have some Next Generation button pins. In some places you would call these badges, but they are the safety pin embedded on the back kind of a deal. We also have ones for Deep Space Nine. Kind of interesting. I also have, I have no idea where these came from. I know that they came from my grandparents, but I have some Journey to Babel figurines. So we've got Captain Kirk, we've got the Andorian ambassador, and we have the Tellarite ambassador here. And I don't really know anything about them. All it says on them is that it's a Tellarite, Star Trek, Hamilton authorized user, made in China. So I really don't know anything about these. I mean, they've been in a box for 20 years in an attic, and they're probably not in the best of shape, but they're kind of cool anyway. Moving on to some model stuff. I did find a couple models stashed away in the attic. Not a whole lot, but I found 3. So first thing I found was this pretty sad looking, pretty sad painted, barely painted Galileo shuttle, the famous AMT. The nacelles pylons are badly warped. I'm not going to bother doing anything with this. Round 2 has a brand new tooled kit of the shuttle coming out. So if I want to do anything, I will get the brand new kit and do something with that. But it's kind of interesting to see. One of the other things is this heaping mess, which at one time was the original series bridge. And again, this thing is in horrible shape. It was done pretty badly. Captain Kirk lost his head at some point. I do have a rather poorly painted Spock here. Autofocus, autofocus. No, it's not doing it. So that's beyond anything that I can do with it. But there is one more model, and it's pretty sad looking. But there might be something I could do with it. So this is studio lighting, a little bit too much for that white piece. So this is the Lights and Sounds Enterprise, and it is the 1537 scale. So same scale as the Reliant. And I think it could be interesting to have this, even though it's broken apart, it's in really bad shape. I mean, here's the secondary hull. It looks like it's been through a battle, and you can even tell that there was an issue. Can you tell? Yeah, you can kind of see how badly the nacelles were attached in order to get them connected. And okay, can I see it? There you go. Look at that warped pylon. That is one seriously warped nacelle pylon. So this was the sound and lights. There's not a whole lot on here that's probably salvageable, but I'm thinking that I might try to salvage the nacelles and the saucer, and if I can get a hold of another 1537 kit, so I can get another set of of nacelles, or maybe take molds of these ones and cast myself up some new ones that I can modify. I might just try and make for myself a Stargazer, or a Constellation class starship. So that could be an interesting use for this pretty sad looking unit. There's also in the base in there is the old Lights and Sounds board. I'd really be interested to pull that out and see if there's anything that can maybe be done with that. So moving on to the next batch of items. First thing I want to show you is this really interesting TV guide. 30 years of Star Trek. I actually haven't looked inside of it since I pulled it out of the attic to see what exactly the articles are, but my grandfather always got TV Guide, and he used to always give me any of the ones that had Star Trek things inside. Kind of interesting, again, for Canadians. This is a Canadian edition, so it has an advertisement for Zellers on the back, a store that no longer exists. Then we have another Playmates toy item. This is the Transporter. So this is meant for the Playmates action figures. So here is a Wesley Crusher action figure, and you would stand him inside the back here. And there's a hole in his foot. You would stand him on the little peg on the inside there. And what this would do is, if you look inside, you see no Wesley Crusher. There's a two-way mirror inside, and lights on one side would come up, lights on the other side would go down, and it would look like your action figure was disappearing. I haven't bothered trying to see if this thing works. I hate to think what the batteries inside some of these things are like, and some of the corrosion that'll need to be cleaned up. But kind of an interesting thing. And of course, it's got the three sliders down on the bottom, just like O'Brien always did. Also, you can probably tell the fact that I've got a Wesley Crusher action figure here, that probably having a couple of these coming up here to show you. Moving away from Star Trek for a moment, just a few kind of interesting things. I have a very poorly assembled and painted with missing landing gear British Airways Concorde. I don't think there's anything I'm ever going to be able to do with this, but I just thought it was kind of a cool thing because it was probably one of the first models I ever put together and had decals go on. The very first one I ever did was actually an Air Canada airplane, but we had a house fire when I was 9 years old. 2 days after Christmas in 1989, I was 9 years old. And that thing, it just melted in the heat, and it was just a blob of aircraft. But this is the oldest model that I still have that I ever built and did on my own. Now it's falling apart. It's in horrible shape. Probably won't do anything else with it. Something that is kind of still interesting in the model area is that I have the Space Shuttle Columbia. Now, I bought this. Well, actually, my parents bought it for me. I thought it was a plastic kit. It is not. It is a balsa wood, I believe. Let's see. The world contains generic... You know what? It actually... And this is one of the issues. It didn't say it on the box. But it is a balsa... There it is on the very end. Balsa display model kit. Never done a balsa kit before in my life. But there's decal sheet, which is pretty much decimated. There are plans and instructions and paper and a building show advertisement. There's vacuum form. I should make sure I get all this stuff in the screen. There's vacuum form parts, more vacuum form parts, and covering material and balsa wood parts. So yeah, I know absolutely nothing about balsa wood kits. So maybe I'll try to do something with it at some point. Could be an interesting project for the channel. But I don't know anything about it. I don't even know if it's in decent enough shape to be able to do anything with it. So that's kind of just a cool little find. Something that I never did anything with. Now, the next group of things I'm going to show you, I need to move the camera because I need to lay some things out on a table here. So let's do that. Next up, we've got a spread of Next Generation and a few Deep Space Nine action figures from Playmates, the toy manufacturer that made all the Star Trek toys when I was young. So, just to quickly go through here, in case you can't quite tell what's here, we've got Captain Picard, we've got a Romulan, Data, a Ferengi, we've got Kalar, we've got a Borg, Geordi LaForge, a Klingon. It says Gowron, but it looks nothing like Gowron. We've got a Benzite, we've got Deanna Troi, Dr. Crusher, Riker, and a little Cisco, Quark, Worf and Wesley Crusher, and Odo, along with Odo's bucket. So just as I'm clearing these off the table to get set up for the next item, I thought I should just clarify. These are not mint in packaging. They might look like they're in packaging, but they're actually, like the Borg here, the packaging is opened. When I was packing these away, I thought I might be able to get away with glue gunning these closed to make it look like they were still in the packaging. Boy, how foolish I was. Finally is this binder. Inside this binder are complete, and I mean complete sets of Pogs. These are Star Trek Pogs. Pogs were a craze in the 90s. So this is a complete set of Star Trek The Next Generation Pogs. And because all this stuff was kept in these plastic sleeves, they are in great shape. And the other thing are all of these Star Trek trading cards. Now, I used to collect these when I was young, and I used to get these in the packages, just like you would with any other sort of trading cards. Now, I haven't gone through this binder since I pulled it out of my parents' attic, so all these little plastic sleeve things are sticking together just a little bit. So as I am going through them here, I am separating them for the first time in a long time. But these are in fantastic shape. And again, the cards, just like the Pogs, are complete sets. So that's one full set of cards. Then we're moving on to these other Next Generation cards here. They separate a little bit easier. Some of these I have doubles and triples of because I was collecting them when I was young. And they are just awesome here. So a little bit of background. This complete set was given to me by one of my uncles, and we're moving into the toss cards now. Again, a complete set, and some of them I have multiples of, which are really cool. I should really go through this and catalog how many of each I have, and because I'm sure that there's some value to these. So my and I didn't even realize I have some Deep Space Nine cards as well. My uncle gave these to me, complete sets, and I already had a bunch that I had been collecting. And this is just kind of a really fun find. I'm going to have to spend some time going through these and looking at them really closely. But yeah, I've got some doubles and triples and probably some quadruples in here too. Not that first set, these ones. I only have one of each of these because I wasn't collecting these ones. But the burgundy and the dark blue are ones that I was collecting. Oh, that's kind of like a hologram type one, and there's a checklist here of those cards. So yeah, these were really fun. I'm gonna have to go through and see just how many copies of each one I have, because I'm sure there might be a little bit of value to these as well. So that's it. That's all the interesting things I found in my parents' attic. Now, I did find a lot of other things too, but nothing that would really be of interest to anybody. But this is the stuff that I thought was really cool, really interesting. So let me know in the comments below, what did you find most interesting out of all those things that I found in my parents' attic? What are some of the things that you've found later on in life that you had of interest from when you were young, when you were a kid, whether it's model building or Star Trek or science fiction or anything like that, or just a really cool find, something that you thought maybe was lost for years? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different than what I normally do. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to my channel or you haven't done so yet, why not hit that subscribe button today? You'll make me very happy if you do. At the time of recording, we are at 190. We are just 10 subscribers away from hitting 200. That is absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Andrew, and this has been Canadian Starships. Have a great day, everyone.